Hello everyone, I bet you're a bit confused about this background. Well, I'm filming this during the summer, as some of you might recognise if you watched my vlog from when I was home. So yeah, pre-filming for the win. Because will you rather have pre-filmed videos or no videos? Hopefully the answer is pre-filmed videos. Anyway, sorry for that little ramble, I just thought I'd make that clear. So this is going to be my 3 tips to study better. I'm not sure what the title is going to be yet. We'll see, or you will see obviously at the bottom of this video. But no matter what they are, you know, these are some tips that will make things easier for you when you have to study. So anyway, here are my 3 tips, 3 things I think are super important and that underpin every other study tip in a way. All the ones like, you know, highlight, use the Cornell note-taking method, stuff like that. These are kind of like underlying principles. And before I get to ramble anything more, let's just get into the video and I'll explain to you what I mean. So the first one, and like the most basic thing, is that you need to figure out what works for you. And that's the thing. If you don't start with this, if you start with every other study tip and you just like go by them, then you're not being the most effective because you don't know what works for you. So if I just went blindly and I just, oh, everyone's recommending me to make mind maps, I'll make all the mind maps. I wouldn't be efficient because mind maps aren't helpful for me because I'm too perfectionistic. I never get anything done. I just sit there and worry about the circles not being perfect and it doesn't get me anywhere. This goes for everything. It goes for kind of what learner you are, what helps you learn the best. It goes for whether you prefer to study with music or not. It goes for whether you prefer to study alone or in groups. It goes for, you know, do you prefer the library or Starbucks or your bed or under your bed or on the sofa? Like, you do you. That's the important thing. You have to figure out what works for you because no one else can tell you that. They can give you suggestions and things you should check out, like, oh, this works for a lot of people, but it doesn't guarantee that it works for you. So that's my, you know, number one underpinning everything. You need to figure yourself out. You need to figure out what works for you. And then, you know, get cracking with that. My mum just called and I have no idea where I was in my thoughts, so that's very exciting. So for the second tip, it's basically to use the Pomodoro technique. If you don't know what it is, it's that you study for a set period of time and then you have a set break, kind of. So I prefer to study for 25 minutes and then have a 5-minute break, just because it evens out to half an hour. You know, that's very good because then you're kind of like, instead of, oh shit, I have to study for 8 hours, then you're kind of like, okay, study, actually focus for 25 minutes and then, you know, you can go on your phone or whatever for 5 minutes. I find that this really helps me actually keep my focus and study better because it seems less daunting, I think, because it seems like you can do it because it's, you know, it's just 25 minutes. It's an episode of Friends. You can focus for an episode of Friends. You can focus on studying for 25 minutes. So I think that's a really good tip. Just don't give yourself the I'm gonna study for 8 hours thing, because then you end up like halfway in Tumblr, halfway studying, constantly checking your phone. Just have breaks, have frequent small breaks. And the last one is to make a plan. I'm a big planner person. Those of you who watch my videos or follow my Tumblr or like know me at all know this. I'm a huge planner person. I'm the kind of person that if I don't write something down, it doesn't stick. Which is a bit unfortunate, you know, in a lot of situations. But I think this goes for most people, that making a plan is very helpful. So that every time you sit down to study, you know, you don't have to spend half an hour figuring out what to do first. You know what you're gonna do. And when I say this, it can be either, you know, make a plan for the semester, what topic should you study when, how far ahead of your lecture should you be, or it can be, you know, what am I going to do at what time today. So it can be as time specific or as general as you want. I like to operate with a general weekly schedule, so that, you know, on Mondays I do pre-readings for this class, on Tuesdays I do for this class, on Wednesdays I do a quiz assigned in this class, you know, stuff like that. Because I like routine and I like to know when I'm supposed to do things. And in general, you know, I would recommend a planner for this. For most people, I think that's a good idea, but you know what, whatever works for you. If you work better with post-it notes, if you work better on your phone, if you work better not writing it down but having a room in your mind palace, you know what, you do what works for you. Back to the first tip. But in general, you know, make a plan. That's good. Give it some thought, think about it, go through it in your head, like, will I have time if I do it this way? Does this leave me enough room for revision before exams? You know, stuff like that. And that's the 3 tips. I mean, I said that this is going to be very general, and it is very, very general. There's no specifics, it's just principles. I think these 3 principles are so important, and that's why I wanted to make this video, because I wanted to focus not on, like, listen to music while you study, or use this colour pen, or chew this kind of flavour gum. You know, go back to the basics, go back to the fundamentals, the stuff that underpins everything else, and make sure that you guys could see that as well. I'm sure you already know it, but it doesn't have to be reminded of it every once in a while. So that's the end of this video. I have nothing more to say. If you want me to do a video on like more specific study tips, things that I like to do when I study, definitely leave me a comment and tell me, give this video a thumbs up if you liked it and if you want to see more study tips videos, and hit the subscribe button down in the description to stay updated on when I post videos, because I try to do that relatively frequently. It's been a pleasure to have you here. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you're enjoying your day, and I will see you later. Bye bye!